We go into map number 2 of this first playoff semifinal. 6 Karma, Malvinas in game number 1. In map number 1, 6 Karma, a 7-4 win on Oregon. The map pick of their opponents. They now go into home territory. They go to Chalet to see what they can do. I'm Jays Wills. I'm here with Novi, and we are going to get you through this second and what could be the final map of this series if 6 Karma get their way.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jonah. It is that second map. It is Chalet, and this is a different flavor from Oregon. Oregon can lean very much into that defensive side. Maybe not as much as other maps, but certainly in regards to being attacking favored is one of the few maps that does lean that way. Chalet is certainly that, but only if you are good. That's kind of how it comes down to it. If you're a good team, it will look attacking sided. If you're a bad team, it will look defender-sided. So last time Malvinas played this, good on their defense, poor on their attack. This is now their redo against a far harder opponent to play against.
All right, it's about seeing how things can change in a different environment. And for 6 Karma, they are going to be trying to keep things to that same equilibrium. They're going to try to keep things in their court as much as they can here. They're going to likely look to come out swinging. When we see the Finka from Soko, that's interesting. You combine that with the Dokkaebi from Morphed, right? We're seeing an attacker lineup already in round number 1 that is tailored to a map like this and does have the potential to get pretty explosive if 6 Karma deem that necessary. You've got the 2 frag grenades, the breaching hammer from Skimzy. You've got the soft destruction power of Akibil as well. And, well, interestingly enough, you've got Scarp already on his back. Gotta wonder, has he already gone for a spawn peek and already risked losing his life?
Okay, Morph was like, maybe I'll go peek. I'll just check it with the drone first. Okay, look, it's not safe. I hear the door underneath me getting smashed. Probably not the safest thing to peek, but not quite sure. Maybe Scarp going for those spawn peeks, or it could genuinely be running through Soda and getting just picked off. That sometimes happens, but Scarp gets his revenge onto Pachito. Fantastic opening kill with that DMR, and with that, Malvinas looking in a more comfortable position. Pressure already being applied by 6 Karma, but it's a flurry the other direction. Both teams really in the first minute just spilling blood every which way, and that deciding that they'll take these engagements, Jonah. We're not even halfway into the round.
What are we watching right now? This already is insanely chaotic for a Chalet start. I mean, yes, this map can get explosive, it can get frag heavy, but the majority of the lobby dead within the first minute, that's not typical anywhere. Both teams really eager to take these gunfights, and in this case, 6 Karma, they bit off a little more than they could chew, a little too much too quickly. Good pings though, and a good kill onto Keifi. Akibil, he's built for situations like this, trying to make another clutch happen, but he just can't do it here in round number 1. Malvinas will hang in there, a messy start, but certainly one that they are happy to secure. 1-0 to kick off this map.
Yeah, on their defensive side, they're going to be happy with that. And one of the compliments I threw towards Malvinas on the desk was, in the chaotic situations when they're behind or the game plan changes because something's gone wrong, that's when they're really at their best, because the decision making is strong for this team. It feels like Malvinas, that was a 5v5, but they went, why not just throw all the chaos at it and trust that we can play better as a team than 6 Karma in terms of setting up those crossfires and making sure we're trading adequately. And that's exactly what they did. Malvinas threw everything at 6 Karma, and 6 Karma had no idea what hit them.
Well, as we get this second map underway, I think a good time to bring up some of the more important stats from that map number 1. Thinking about the entry especially, going from a map like Oregon to a map like Chalet, that's going to be one of those statistics that's really translatable to similar aggressive and potentially explosive territory like this. If we're looking at team entry, 6 Karma, they were the overwhelming favorites. That was what, 8-3 overall, I think it was, on the entry. really the dominant force in those early engagements, specifically looking at Skimzy, who was 4-2, Akibil 3-0. On the other side, you really saw Scarf on the side of Malvinas, who was really the top entry performer for his team, going 3-2. And I think already kicking off Chalet with that similar plan in mind. The opening engagement, he at least got downed in. But as you so eloquently put it, Novi, getting his revenge, right? Actually, the opening kill in that round turned out to have been credited to Scarf rather than against him. He ended up getting that kill against Pachito, who in this map is going to need to also step things up a little bit compared to his performance on the last map, going 2-8 on Oregon overall.
Not the good, not the goodest of scores, not the best of scores, but you know, you got to pick yourself up. A series is a marathon, not a sprint, and these teams, after the regular split of having to play these best of threes instead of best of ones, they're going to be used to this kind of situation where they do just have to try and reverse their fortune. For Malvinas, slower round than what we saw previously, but they'll still take the aggression to 6 Karma. Soko, first of all, doing fantastically on these opening kills. And just like that, Malvinas has set themselves up on a path to win in this round. 6 Karma have to turn up the pressure on them, but it's not even working because Ragnar's just got another one.
Yeah, 2 kills, make it 3 for Malvinas. What a start for them. Pachito, he'll spot the head of a prone and I don't know, AFK, Ragnar below the window, but it shouldn't matter too much. It's a 2v4. 6 Karma heavily on the back foot here. Not going so attacker-sided so far on this map. Clearly for them, it is once again going to take an Akibil miracle. He'll creep his way in, or at least attempt to creep his way into Bar, but he gets quickly shut down. Pachito, the retaliating blow is found, yes, but it's not going to matter too much once again. It's a 1v3. Malvinas, they know exactly where he is, and they have the perfect angle to line him up. It'll be Nitro with that DMR in hand to get that long-range, well-placed headshot to close out the round and make it 2 in a row for Malvinas just for good measure.
Very, very good job by Malvinas. Taking that aggression, taking those gunfights, and all round, just once they get that opening kill, a lot of the time you'll see defensive teams shy away from any more aggression. They want to play it safe. Malvinas kind of says no. They will just keep applying that pressure, keep pushing you as hard as possible to make mistakes and walk into their crossfires. And at that point, either you've got to try and tackle a site on your own or with a man disadvantage, or you're walking into unfavorable gunfights that they're prepared for. It is a very high pressure style of siege, and currently 6 Karma just does not have the answer to counter it right now.
At least through these first 2 rounds, at least they just have not found that pressure that we need them to have if they want to take this map, if they want to have some success on their own map. But truthfully, so far, this has gone exactly to plan for Malvinas, going to a map that maybe they didn't necessarily pick, but that they are clearly quite comfortable on. Impact grenade, not trick at all, giving a Nitro a little bit of difficulty, but what he's done here nicely is establish multiple angles on all 3 of these walls here, all 3 of those panels, rather than just one. So giving himself a couple more options, a couple more angles to work with, if that was the goal. We'll have to worry, though, about this entry from 6 Karma, because he's been spotted out, and likely he will be in their line of sight in just a moment.
So walking in with that engagement, just being willing to take the gunfights, certainly shows Malvinas' attitude. 6 Karma, they seem to have recognized this, and if Malvinas can get this round win, this is when you start looking at 6 Karma. They didn't even have to call a tactical timeout in the previous map. Maybe this is when they decide to call it after this round. It really depends if they can, whatever they're trying to do here, this, okay, we're not going to give you the allowance to just pick off us in 1v1s. We're going to play a bit more as a team to shrink our map control slightly, but we can trade it as an option. If that works, then maybe, just maybe, we don't even need to do it, or we can just run on in. Skimzy with the first against Keifi. That is a huge pickup with that mute going. That's no Nitro Cell later into the round. And at the halfway point, for the first time this game, 6 Karma has the advantage.
Yeah, the first time we've seen them get the opening kill, but they're going to have to do more than just that. They still have a lot of these defensive threats to pin down and actually force out. And until they do that, this is still going to be an uphill climb. Nitro, he just barely gets away safely after maybe getting a bit too aggressive down by those west main stairs. Akibil was a step and a half too late to actually get that angle onto the Melusi. Instead, he'll be focused on joining the rest of his team to clear out that deployable shield. They'll do it, but losing a body in the process. Scarp has worked his way all the way to the top floor and surprised Soko when he wasn't expecting it. So now 6 Karma have a tough choice to make. Do they turn their attention towards this Jaeger and try to force him out, or just turn their attention towards the site and go for a push?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that 6 Karma need to find answers to pretty damn quick. Kibo just relying on Malvinas to overpeak, give them a way in which they can start leveraging that execute, or he's just going to have to start aggressing. You can see the panic here. He has to get more risky with it because the time is running down. Those keyword barriers are only going to make matters worse. There is no information. There's toxic babes flying out. There's so much trading going on with Nitro picking up 2. And with 8 seconds, make that 6. Pachito goes down and Ragnar closes the round out. Malvinas 3 on the trot. Last map was back and forth. This map is not.
So far, this is very one-sided. Malvinas all the way. And Novi, I know you posed the question of, are we going to see that tack timeout from 6 Karma? Thankfully, we are. And I think it is, well, at this point, overdue. Lost all 3 attacks on 3 different bomb sites. Nothing they tried, even if they got the opening kill in that 3rd round, nothing they tried was able to succeed. They got caught out by the roam there, surprised from the Jaeger of Scarp, who just totally blindsided them. And then when it came to actually executing on the site, they just didn't have enough done. The defenders still confident, comfortable to hold those angles, and with a very one-sided approach from that attack, a very predictable approach. Malvinas did not have to worry about any surprise from behind, any pressure from main stairs, any real soft destruction from that main lobby either, because again, the Jaeger had already taken care of the buck. You'd lost the skeleton key and you'd lost that player manning those holes up above. So 6 Karma certainly need to bounce back, but as far as Malvinas are concerned, this is going exactly according to plan.
All according to plan. And with that tactical timeout, 6 Karma, Chalet is technically attacker-sided. Again, if the consistency is there, but Malvinas just seems to have an answer to whatever 6 Karma is bringing. They've taken the tactical timeout. This is where we look for that conversion on the round. But the issue is, Malvinas has had a full rotation, Jonah. They've gone through all 3 of the sites that they love and they choose to play. They are now back with their first round site defense, if they so choose, and they can pick it at a whim, and 6 Karma have to walk into their primary site. It's probably the hardest test 6 Karma's going to face on this half, but if they don't win it, they are in utter dire straits.
Yeah, they would really not enjoy being down 2-4, maybe 1-5 going into their defensive half. Like you said, this map tends to work its way towards the attacker's favor. So if Malvinas stay true to that pattern, at least when they attack, this one could get very scary and could rather be over very quickly. 6 Karma, though, the one thing they have changed up, the one thing they have remedied is the entry. From losing both entry duels in the opening 2 rounds to winning them in the next 2, it's certainly an improvement, but it's not quite enough, because Malvinas, they've done a great job of neutralizing that advantage quickly. Here in round 4, another perfect example of that. Akibil removed by KP, the Frost, stepping up and, well, getting a perfect shot onto the Ash, who's not going to be able to have an impact here in this round yet again. So far, 1-4.
Yeah, this is damaging his KD across the whole series because his first game KD was so good, but just struggling to hit that mark. 6 Karma are moving considerably faster. Skimzy is one of those players who is having a better game. Taking down Nitro is going to buy a bit of breathing room. No keeper barriers to come up and really disrupt things, but that is a great trade. It gets even worse for 6 Karma. It's still technically a 2 vs 2, but a Nitro cell followed by Pano, who just shoot and scoot straight out of there after he gets the kill. The kill is confirmed on the player who's downed, but 6 Karma, they had the lead. It's now dead even until now with Soko taking down Ragnar.
Pano is all that remains of this defense, but he is still in a position to shut this down if his position is unknown. That's the big question. He works his way up the Solarium stairs, and 6 Karma know this. There's no way he gets out of this angle alive. We'll have to just pre-fire, hoping that he avoids this onslaught, this hailstorm of bullets from 6 Karma. But truthfully, at the end of the day, 6 Karma, they still need to get downstairs. They still need to get down below. The Gemini going in, and now the C4 coming out from Pano in response, but it does not find its mark. Now 6 Karma will move in. The drop straight down. Pano denies the first. Where's the trade? Finally lands from Soko. Near disaster, as it looked like Pano might be able to get away, but just in the nick of time, 6 Karma do what they have to do. Soko does what he had to do to pull out that round for 6 Karma, pulling it out in the 2v1 and taking their first round of this map.
And that's what they needed. They needed to convert that tactical timeout. Otherwise, things were getting very worrying. It was going to be an awkward situation for them. Probably not happy with how close it came, but in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You get that round win, you get that round win. It doesn't matter how you got there, as long as you get there in the end. Now with that win under their belt, 6 Karma off that donut can start looking to get a couple more. Probably they'll want to at least pick up one more in this half. Ideally, they would want the 3-3, but just with how one-sided this game has been so far, getting a 2-4 scoreline is still a good enough foundation as we swap halves to then get into a better position by leveraging that defensive style of play where it's a bit slower. You can be a bit more reactive rather than proactive, and take advantage of your opponent's mistakes a little bit easier than it is on attack.
Like you said, Nobi, potentially that's what 6 Karma needed. But they still have to do a little bit more, oh my, to capitalize. Keifi, this aggression from Malvinas, they're not slowing down. I mean, we've seen this now, I think 3 different rounds at least, going for a spawn peek. Occasionally it's been punished, but sometimes it hasn't. Like right there, Keifi is able to get away. Obviously, landed like a half a bullet onto Skimzy and got a half a bullet dealt his way as well, but nothing too much to worry about for either team. At least 6 Karma, they know now what type of aggression they're dealing with and what they should have to be prepared for when this eventual attack actually gets in the building and actually starts to make a move.
Very, very different styles of attack in comparison to what we saw in Oregon. You know, we saw this Lion, which can be very brutal in putting pressure instantly onto all the defenders. It's one of the few global abilities we have in this game. Instead, opting for more individual one-on-one style play. You've got the Twitch with the smokes, a very utility-heavy style with the Ash as well. My eye is towards Skimzy, though. He's been so on it in terms of those opening kills to try and bring 6 Karma into the fold. Unfortunately for him, it's actually Pachito who's just having a really rough series. He's desperately trying, but that trade is fantastic. 6 Karma knocking on the doors very early on and doing a good job at applying the pressure, not faltering in their wands. The rest of the team is stepping up to the plate as they look to push onto the site.
So far, 6 Karma, great response to the early death that they felt. I mean, Malvinas, we highlighted their trading ability on this map. 6 Karma going toe-to-toe with them here in round number 5, and now looking to really make a move. Look at this. Morphed is trying to get this diffuser down, and he will do it uncontested. Finally, Nitro will step up and attempt this retake, getting the first, Keifi the second, but Akibil now remains to fend this off by himself. A 1v2 should be winnable for both teams here, but Akibil's got to be really careful. He knows the aggression is coming, and the aggression, it works. Nitro, he'll take the fight, and he will win it, leaving Keifi to go for the counter defuse, leaving Malvinas in a very good position. 4-1, the defensive split so far sitting pretty despite just one round slipping away. Malvinas still carry the momentum, still carry all the confidence in the world.
I am starting to think that Six Karma is regretting their map choice decision, right? We knew that Chalet was a good map for Malvinas. We knew it was in their map pool. Clubhouse was available. There were other options, but no, Six Karma chose to take Malvinas to Chalet, and currently it is not working for them whatsoever. At no point has it really looked comfortable. Maybe the round before last, they looked a lot better getting their opening picks, but apart from that one, it is really been the Malvinas show. And now they're going to Bar Gaming. They've got the mirror, which is available. It wasn't banned out. This is a very, very strong site for the defenders, and especially with the black mirrors in play for both library and the stockroom as well, this can make it super, super difficult. The Maverick is going to be brought so those main lobby stairs, they can start taking out the underneath side and start clearing out the defenders, but my eyes are towards library. This is always a problem point to really draw the defenders out. The one thing I'd say which is going in Six Karma's favor is the fact that there is no kind of utility sync. There's no ADSs, there's no magnets, but they didn't bring the X-Kairos on the Hibana either, so questioning what Six Karma is planning on dealing and how they approach this.
One solace that Six Karma have here is, as much as we've talked about Chalet as a whole across regions leaning attacker side and looking specifically at Latin America this stage, Chalet is technically just slightly defender sided, about 54% to about 45%. So it is incredibly neck and neck, but it's favoring the defense slightly. Generally, if you wanted to approximate, you could say that it is pretty even as far as this map is concerned between attack and defense. So Six Karma, as much as we are harping on their mistakes and we're saying, you know what, is not going well for them, and this is maybe not the map pick that they may have wanted to go to, it's not over yet. If they get this attacking win 2-4, you can live with that. You can go into your second half with maybe a little bit more confidence on the defensive side than you would otherwise. But here's the real kicker. They're going to go for it real soon. This round, they got the opening kill, and now they'll claim the second, essentially trying to lock Malvinas off from this site in order to get this diffuser down. The first half of the job, well done. It's now the post-plant they have to fend off.
And Malvinas on this post-plant recovery, it's looking a little bit tricky. Keifi first one to go down. Ragnar just finds Akibul just maybe snoozing on the floor. Maybe that's how comfortable Six Karma is feeling, but the flurry of flashes, the air jab to throw him back, and it's falling apart for Malvinas. Six Karma look very, very dominant. It's taken a while to get here, but they've got that second round. And as we go to the half, Malvinas Gaming maybe have to pause for thought because Six Karma has just stepped their game up.
They did. We have to ask the question, right? Is it a little too late? They finally got another attacking win. They claimed 2. It's really just about what we see in this second half. I mean, truthfully, that's always the case. But Malvinas have certainly made an effective statement on Chalet. They said, you know what? You took our map of Oregon. We don't care. We're going to go to your map pick, and we are going to fight tooth and nail to take this series from you. That's one thing that Malvinas have done pretty well so far, right? They at least have been exposed to several full-length series. They went against Revan. They took that one to all 3 games, ended up winning that, took the Alpha Atheris game to all 3 maps, and just lost by 1 round, and round 15 on Chalet in overtime. Six Karma, on the other hand, just 1 full map series, so their endurance may be tested a little bit here if it does end up going the distance. But here we are on our second half, and now the big question of, can Six Karma make this a truly defensive-sided map? Will have to be answered.
A lot of questions. Malvinas, though, one thing I want to focus on. Nitro bringing the Flores. Great operator, huge amount of distraction, but often can get countered by the Solus, who is banned, but more often than not, the mute as well, which just restricts his Rotero drone's movements. No mute. Feel free to bring the Flores. That is going to help clear that top floor out, especially on the library. The first engagement, though, is Scarp just dangling from the ceiling, and he is bringing the pain to 6 Karma with a quick double kill.
Yeah, Soko, that was not it. Sorry, friend. That is not what you want to do. He decided to expose his entire body to that angle and didn't find a single bullet. Looks like he didn't know where Scarp was. I mean, the silencer on Scarp's gun makes it a little more difficult to see the bullet trail and where he's coming from, but should have had some pretty clear communication that Scarp was on the rappel and he was able to find that slim angle. That's just a little missed step, a little gap in the communication of this 6 Karma team that is clearly a problem here in round number 7. They have yet to find a single kill, and it looks like it's going to get even worse. Morph is now being thrown around by these Flores drones. He's continuing to be pestered by the bullets of this Malvinas attack, and just like that, wow. Pachito is no more. 6 Karma are no more, vanquished by this flawless Malvinas attack on their first attacking round. So it is not that miracle swapping of the momentum that we needed to see from 6 Karma if they wanted to fight back on this.
And I was going to touch, just before Scarp got a 4K, the fact that Malvinas was fairly even in firepower across the board. This is one of the big strengths of the team, is everybody can perform. But Scarp decided to throw that out the window and go, you know, I'm going to go a bit nutty and get 4 kills in a row. But even with that, it is still pretty even. What? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, that is the range. 4 to 8 is the range between the team. And you look at what 6 Karma did to bring Oregon across the line. A lot of that was Akiba with a phenomenal 70-kill game. Standout individual performances to blow open rounds. Malvinas, apart from last round, very, very consistent in winning those ones.
We head now to Kitchen and Dining, the second site of choice for 6 Karma. And as you see here, putting a lot of focus into this top floor extension. Combination of those Kiva barriers, those castle barricades, those mirror windows. A lethal extension up above. There is no question about that. But the other question, when looking at this attacking side, is how much are they going to actually lean into clearing this extension out? They've got the Monty. They've got these air jabs. In theory, they could try to go a bit more direct, just use those air jabs to seal off any potential flanks and try to get that diffuser down a little bit quicker. Right now, it seems that they're going to opt for the former strategy, opening up this library window and at least teasing a little bit of pressure up above. What they actually want to do, still not exactly sure about that, but they clearly have their eyes trained on Morphed, who is stuck here in this corner. Drone initially missed him, but now will spot him out. He's forced to drop down, and he gets a kill that Pano was hoping would be his own instead. Make it 2. He gets the down and is now hunting for the finisher onto Scarp. He can't quite do it. In fact, Pachito is downed and finished off at the same time. But 6 Karma choosing to put up a bit more of a direct fight in this round, and Morphed is doing the majority of the work.
But Nitro is doing the majority of work for Malvinas on the other side. The player of Scarp is still down, but he's not out. And now Morphed has been removed. Another triple kill for a Malvinas attacker. Nitro is on a tear, suddenly slain, and now the Monty in basically a 1 vs 2, not a great position. Has to prioritize picking up Scarp, otherwise the round is incredibly difficult. Do 6 Karma realize this and try and prevent it? No, they're not able to get close enough. And now with that Monty, Scarp might be low in health, but he's got a walking shield to hide behind now as he walks towards the site.
It's helpful, but it also means that for this attack, they really only have 1 gun up. Skimzy and Soko, they can have both of their guns trained at any doorway that Malvinas try to walk in, and at the end of the day, only one of these attackers really can fight that. You'll have a shield in front of you to help, that's true. But on low HP, a stray bullet or two onto the side of Scarp could quickly end his hopes in this round. So Ragnar needs to be very careful about how he plays this. Needs to make sure he's got some support from his team. He now walks himself directly into this mirror window and will now actually choose to contest. Soko, what you doing, man? You should not lose that fight. Ragnar takes a freebie. And just like that, I mean, guess I lied to you. Looks like there were 2 guns in play for this attack. Because Ragnar is certainly here to make an impact.
Ragnar is taking heads, taking names. This is a really tricky position for Skimzy. He wants to try and isolate both attackers into separate 1v1s. And that's exactly what he's done. But now Ragnar can stick the plan. The problem with the Monty, he's slow. He's certainly not steady. Tries to run through, but it's a triple kill for Skimzy. And he's going nuts. He's walking sideways like a crab into the wall because he's now going forward and pushing his team onto 3-round wins. They're closing the gap to Malvinas, Jonah, but there's a lot more work to do.
Novi, it should not have been that close in that 2v2. 6 Karma, they are stressing me out, man. I mean, oh lord, that really was a round that they should have won a bit more confidently. And truthfully, I thought Malvinas were going to win it. I thought in the 1v1 with the Monty, he was so close to getting the bomb down. I mean, when you get the diffuser down as a Monty in a 1 versus 1, you're going to win that 9 times out of 10. There's very little that a defender can do trying to post plant against a brick wall, just standing there in a corner, not exposing even a sliver of his body to you. You cannot afford to really do much at all. Now, thankfully for 6 Karma, you'll have a kill that came just in the nick of time, just before that diffuser was finished going down. But my oh my, that came close. Malvinas, for the most part, are doing a great job in this late round, punishing 6 Karma for every single small mistake. That's why Malvinas are right now the better team here on Chalet. That's why they're up by 2, because so far, every time they see an opening, every time they see a slight misplay, they are capitalizing.
6 Karma, though, they have stepped it up. Yes, it got way too close, but Malvinas are usually the ones who thrive in those situations. This time, 6 Karma is taking advantage of that. It doesn't matter how we got here. They're starting to win a few rounds here or there. For Malvinas, though, they just need to calm down. They need to focus. To be honest, last round would have been perfect for a tactical timeout. You still got the lead. You take the time and go, look, we've got a couple more rounds before they catch up, if they catch up. What can we do to really prevent that? What do we reckon went wrong there? Because we came close. We went really bloody close. They've opted for, I want to say, a bit more firepower, a slightly different style, taking the ace over the Hibana in a situation. The rest of it is pretty standard, but with the Twitch as well, which might help with the Black Mirrors. And of course, that Dokkaebi, which is just great, or Skimzy can remove the Twitch, and then there's no more shock drones. Fantastic opener.
Drops down, though, into Nitro's waiting arms, so he will lose his life quickly after. Malvinas with the equalizer, and an important one at that. You leave Skimzy untouched. At that point, you're allowing an alibi to roam free on a map and just wreak havoc behind you, make you second guess every decision. Thankfully now, with that threat alleviated, Malvinas can turn their attention to more important matters, like taking the head of Akabil and taking care of Soko, who is once again putting himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's just not it. That's just what he cannot be doing. Once again, he's now leaving Morphed and Pachito to clutch this up. Made a misplay in that 2v2 in round number 8, and round number 9 seems to be no different. Malvinas, 4v2, clearly the upper hand.
Despite getting that opening kill, because it's so well traded from Malvinas, they instantly snapped to attention. Again, that dynamicness, in the ability, the flexibility to get into a winning position and leverage their teammates to start trading is very, very commendable for Malvinas. They're really, really stepping up to the plate. Those Rotero drones will start removing the keeper barriers. Piano can start to get opened up. Malvinas has enough time to start checking these boxes, but if they're not careful, if they don't do their droning, their due diligence, Jonah, those two players, Pachito and Morph, especially Morph, we've seen how well we can play, will take them in those gunfights.
We know it can be done, however improbable. They've got these mirror windows. They've got these power positions still to work with. But unfortunately, with Pachito losing his life, with Morphed falling soon after, any hope that Six Karma may have had to stave off map point, have now been dashed. Malvinas, they move ahead to take that 6-3 lead and to now have the chance to win this second map. Well, they'll have the chance for 3 different rounds in a row, worst case.
This is a really interesting series. Like, the first game, I was like, okay, this is really back and forth, but Six Karma ultimately just looked like the better team. But it's so different on Chalet. Like, so different. I was not expecting Malvinas to be this far ahead on both attacking and defensive half. Six Karma, they've tried with that read, Morphed, been very good in the opening few rounds, Skimsy as well. But past that point, the mid-round especially, Six Karma just lose their way completely. They look lost. Maybe that's either Malvinas playing especially well, which I think they 100% are, but also Six Karma just not really recognizing the advantages they have and overextending and then subsequently getting caught out for it.
Well, Six Karma, as we know, Nobi, they already used their timeout earlier on in that first half. So if they want to make any major changes, any big adaptations to stave off map point number 1, well, that'll just have to come in those brief moments between the rounds. They'll have to maybe consult with any other strats that they may have saved up for this. And, oh dear, was that a Twitch drone successfully popping Pachito's mirror window 30 seconds in? I think it was. And that is going to make things a lot more difficult for the Mira, who is just trying to set up and give himself a good position to work with.
You've got to think, Twitch has been brought pretty much every single attacking round, right? Like, you've got to have the read that is a possibility. But sometimes it happens. That's just kind of the buck with it. That hasn't stopped Six Karma from just running in onto site anyway and taking the engagements. But it does mean that part of their defensive lineup and the gadgets they brought has just been instantly nullified by the shock drone. For now, that proximity alarm and the default cam going to spot out Nitro, who's having a great game. I said it was very even Stevens across the board, but Nitro has been proving me wrong. But Pano is the first to take the blood that spills from the side of Six Karma. That is potentially the first nail in the coffin as they look and lock eyes towards Bank.
Pano so far successful on the entry this game. 2-1 so far. And in this case, doing a great job of shutting down Akibil, who is now kept at 4-10. That's just not what you needed from one of your star players here if you're Six Karma. You've got Skimsy, the only player going positive right now. And on the Malvinas side of things, almost everyone, in fact, everyone is in the black. And they are, I mean, looking good. Like you said, Nitro, 13-4. He is putting on a clinic right now of how to tear apart this Chalet defense. And he's going to be looking to do it again. Morphed is now the next player that Malvinas are looking to eliminate. They know how important dealing with these top floor players are going to be. And Nitro looking to sneak on in and take a bit of unexpected control. He's lost one of his teammates, but he is now in a potential position to make something happen. He's going to go for this res. Soko is not going to swing around to deny it, worried about the long angle, and he'll end up losing his life. Nitro, that's another one. A 3v5 now, Six Karma. A 2v5 now for Six Karma. It's Malvinas putting on a show.
They're not putting on a show, they're putting on a clinic. This is surgical precision, taking every liberty that they can. But with 5 seconds, it doesn't matter about the man advantage, although Skimsy's making that a non-factor. You've got to get on site. You've got to plant. What are you doing, Malvina? Six Karma gets the round. It came close. They had everything going their way, but Malvinas falls at the final hurdle, and Six Karma are still alive.
Just barely. They're still alive. Frankly, they shouldn't be. They lost that round, except for just a tiny little bit of miscommunication in the end. Just literally, I think, milliseconds. And that bomb would have been down. And that diffuser would have been able to get planted, even at 000s, as long as you are typing away on that diffuser face down on the floor, you are able to stick that and get it off. Unfortunately, I think just a sliver too late, and with 2 really nice kills up above, let's be very clear, with 2 really nice kills, I think Skimzy is able to put 6 Karma, at least keep 6 Karma in this fight, because that was as close as it could have come to losing this map and going over to Bank as our decider.
Okay, Malvinas. They've been blessed with this advantage that, I say blessed, they fought for this and they fought well. But if they're not consistent, they run the risk of 6 Karma clawing their way back. And you really don't want to be going into that deciding map, which is going to decide whether you can get the grand final spot and subsequently the Copenhagen spot after an OT game, which you have to win to get it there, right? Like, we say it's a marathon, not a sprint, because best of threes are naturally long. It's at least 2 games, but you throw an overtime game in there and it is so many more rounds. It's so much more adrenaline and pressure. And to keep up the level of play, yes, Nitro is having a fantastic game, but do we really expect him to be able to do this every single game? No, not at all. It's not what players do. That's why we have the averages for KD and everything. Malvinas need to close this out soon so they can start turning their eyes towards Bank, because the longer they give it and the longer 6 Karma can whittle at their stamina, the better it is for 6 Karma when they get onto Bank.
Still feels like Malvinas are heavily in the advantage here, just given the way these rounds have been going. But you're right, 6 Karma, it's not over. It's not over yet for them. They could still get these next 2 rounds, push us into overtime. And last time Malvinas were in overtime on Chalet, they lost it by just 1 round. 6 Karma hoping to channel as much of that same Alpha Atheris success as possible here on what could be the final map point on Chalet. Again, Soko looking to get up in the face of this attack. You see him using these deployable shields, castle barricades, Kiba barriers, so much utility being put in the face of Malvinas, and it will work at least for 1 kill. Scarp is able to get 1, but not before 1 kill was found onto Skimzy first.
Malvinas has been so clean on their trading. I absolutely love it. So many teams just send their entry player in and then hope for the best, really, and there is no backup. But Malvinas has been consistent throughout this map, and they've looked so good for it. Now, with the 4-on-4, how do they start approaching? Already you can see Akibo getting pressured on that bottom floor. The top 4 controls going the way of Malvinas, but there is a minute remaining. There's the Toxic Babes in pocket, and most importantly, 4 players. They've got even man count. Usually 6 Karma is behind at this point, so they've got a lot going for them in this round.
Cheetah will pop up, worried about getting spotted, and so he'll drop away, opting to play below instead. Nitro Cell already expended. You're going to have to rely on these final 3 smokes here from Akivil, but with his head taken clean off, that's not going to be a possibility. Instead, 6 Karma, they're going to have to do this one the old-fashioned way, deny this execute with just some well-placed bullets and some well-timed swings, because now Malvinas, with 10 seconds left, they're bound. Well, they have to get going here. Still, haven't seen Ragnar get this bomb down. Finally, that diffuser will see the ground here. More around the other side. You've got someone watching him closely, and so he will not stand a chance. But Cheeto and Soko now have to work their way into a retake, and it is simply not going to happen. Round number 11 is what it took, but Malvinas will still take the map regardless. Chalet goes to them. They go to their opponents, and Malvinas, they snag 6 Karma's map pick, going 1-for-1 overall. And we're going to see Bank. We're going to see the final map in this series, Novi, to decide it.
Yep, we are going the distance. Hats off to Nitro, great performance. It was a team game all the way until it wasn't, when Nitro got onto that attacking side and looked disgustingly good. I cannot call bank Jonah. This is a series where I thought there's clearly one favorite,